Welcome, everyone, to Stop Asking and Start Solving. And I mean a true welcome to you because the fact that you're here tells me you're already the kind of leader who wants to be better for your team. So let's make this 60 minutes count. I'm Michelle, and joining me is Conroy.
Hello, everyone.
And
Welcome.
together, we've spent over between us 30 years building successful teams, managing and coaching seven-figure businesses, and training hundreds of leaders of UK across the UK and beyond. So,
Yeah, before we'll go ahead, Michelle. I would like everyone just to drop their names and their businesses in the chat and where you are from in the UK, because this we like to know where people are from so we
yeah.
can work more closely and feel more connected.
So we love knowing who's in the room. So in the chat, we've got our team who are managing the chat facility. So at any point throughout this presentation, you've got any questions, you are also permitted to talk. So just raise your hand and our team will manage that and coordinate that in the back rooms. But we love to know who's in the room. So the chat facility, who have we got? Does anyone want to contribute? Let's have a look in the chat. Anyone saying where they're from in the UK? Well, we're from Bedfordshire and it is absolutely boiling hot today. I think it's one of the hottest days we've ever experienced in the
I
UK.
think most schools have like closed for half day and sent the kids home because it's so hot.
Absolutely. So stop asking and start solving how to 10x your team's productivity.
So here's the hard truth. Most teams, even the brilliant ones, are stuck when it comes to showing initiative. They're waiting for an email, they're waiting for the green light, and they're waiting for the go ahead to make things happen.
Before I wanted to dive in, I actually just wanted to take a moment just to celebrate our fantastic news because I've introduced your host, myself and Conroy, and that's the ice cream van driving past on this hot sunny day. But why you should learn from us. This is hot off the press. Only last Thursday we were proud to win the Positive Impact Gold Award for 2026 for
Amazing.
Bedfordshire. So we're super
Amazing.
proud of that. And not only that, to top it off, and the icing on the cake was winning the overall gold winner award for Bedfordshire. So we are very proud. And this is why you should learn from us. Business Person of the Year, National Business Person of the Year, Entrepreneur of the Year, Community Business of the Year, Positive Impact Award, and overall gold winner. So loads of accolades, and hopefully you'll get the most out of this 60 seconds. So Conroy, you were saying about the hard truth, weren't you, when it comes to stuck?
Absolutely. And going back to that question, the hard truth is most teams are, even the brilliant ones, they come where the team within the business, they're not using their initiative and they're not getting ahead. The reason why they're waiting for the green light to make things happen.
Yeah, waiting for that email, waiting for someone else to solve that problems. And that waiting, that's exactly where innovation goes to die. We see it over and over and over again in businesses and people that we work with across every size of business. And three patterns keep showing up. For example, a customer issue sits unresolved for 3 days because nobody feels empowered to make the call back.
Yeah.
A manager spends their entire day answering questions that actually their team members could answer and should be solving themselves. And your team notices a process that's broken, but nobody's fixing it. It's that walk on by, not my job, don't feel empowered, therefore it doesn't get done.
And sometimes people forget, like when you show up for the small things, it looks after the bigger things. If you're ignoring the smaller things, the big things, just imagine what you're doing with the bigger things. If you get the small things right, the big things just tend to take care of themselves.
Absolutely. So it just stays broken. So if you are a manager watching this, there's a good chance you may be the bottleneck. You may be the one that people are waiting for that yes, that green light, or waiting for you to give you the go ahead to go and make that call, or.
But why is that, Michelle? Is that because they haven't given the proper training? They're not taking accountability of their role, or just ignoring?
It's exactly that. It may be because the team, the culture, the lack of training, the culture of a business is key. And if the culture of a business is not about empowering people
To
to
take
take
ownership.
ownership, to own their job title rather than just come and do a job and go home, we're going to help today fix that accountability and proper training. So I think that is a key part.
Absolutely,
Right.
Michelle.
So a quick poll then. So which of these sounds like your team right now? You're going to put this in the poll. It's in the chat facility. So the question is in the chat. Which of these sounds most like your team right now? A, people take ownership and make things happen. B, people wait for approval before they act. C, problems get escalated too quickly. Or D, it completely depends on the individual.
And this is the time to kind of be upfront and honest. This is where we can help you to get to that next level, or just give you that little extra knowledge that will help you to, help your team to maximize their potential.
So we've got Helen who says C, problems get escalated too quickly. I get that. There's definitely a lack of accountability there, isn't there? People just want to, perhaps they don't feel empowered to make that decision, or don't feel confident enough. Perhaps it's
or
a
just
training.
lazy.
Or just lazy.
Because you have that as well. There are just some people who are just
want
lazy,
to pass
the buck on to the next person.
Do we have any other chats coming up? Any questions? But it's just a reflective question. So let's move on to the common pattern. So this is what we spoke about, where innovation dies. Those three things: the customer issues unresolved for days, managers are overwhelmed by their teams who just come to them quickly and escalate problems quickly, broken processes that nobody owns or fixes, and like we said, you may be that bottleneck unintentionally. So why does this happen?
Well, Michelle, between myself and yours, we've spent many years working within this industry. So why does this happen? We call it the delegation gap.
Yeah.
That most people spend time space between what your team is capable of doing and what they're actually allowed to do.
Or feel safe to do on their own. That's a key part too, because they might not feel they're experienced enough or have the training. So it's about that gap between what they think is capable of doing and actually what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And just feel free to drop in the box if there's any time you have any questions, or you can relate to some of these questions and some of these answers. Feel free. Or if you disagree as well, this is a two-way thing. Although we're here, sharing our knowledge and expertise, if there's things that you feel like is a better way, please share that as well, because this is a forum to help everyone here benefit.
And research consistently shows that micromanagement and decision bottlenecks are among the top drivers of disengagement. And disengagement is expensive. It is costly to a business. In a mid-sized business, you cannot afford dead weight. Every person needs to be recognized as a critical cog in the wheel of that business.
Absolutely.
And that's what we do in our businesses with the team.
Say, give us an example, Michelle.
We do exactly that. And we just not long ago delivered some training with our own team on leaders at every level. And you cannot afford dead weight. You cannot afford to be carrying a team. We've done that, Conroy.
Absolutely. We spent many years. We had a team, I think 18 to 20 people. But you take myself or Michelle out of that, I'm going back probably 8-10 years ago.
Longer.
You took myself or Michelle out of those environments, it wouldn't function effectively. And we quickly had to learn that actually we don't have a business. We just had something that kept spinning because we're in it. You should be able to step away from your team or your business and it functions regardless.
Yeah, we were the bottleneck back then.
100%.
We had a team that we carried. They were dead weight. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but like Conroy said, if we weren't there, things wouldn't function. Yeah. And you cannot build and scale a business if you're reliant upon one or two key people, because take them out of the equation, it's not sustainable. So here's what we've also seen after 30 years, of 30 years of coaching people and working in business, that most employees actually aren't lazy or disengaged by nature, because you mentioned about lazy.
But there is a time you have that as well. But most aren't just lazy. There's more to it that can relate to them coming across lazy in their working environment.
Yeah. The problem is when something unexpected happens, something outside the box, something that, it's a curveball that's been thrown. Yeah, and they freeze.
Yeah.
They stop, they wait, they don't even know what to do. It's that fight or flight syndrome. And that's not a character flaw, it's a systems failure. It's a systems failure.
So would you say, in terms of upskilling those members of staff or those people, giving them the skills, imagine if you did do that and those people still are not demonstrating that initiative, that ability to kind of work on their own and make decisions, what is the next step for
Well,
those
let's do
people?
the first step is the training because it's a mindset start. It's a mindset start. We call this radical responsibility because, like we said, it's beyond just ticking boxes. It's a systems failure. We've said it's not a character flaw. It's about how do we empower them to own the outcomes? And the answer is to that, your question, Conroy, is radical responsibility. We've identified 4 levels of thinking that exist in every team.
Absolutely. So I'll talk around the first one. The first one is called the passenger. They wait for instruction, they react to problems, and they defer any decision upwards. They are not just disloyal, they're just not driving. They are not the ones that make the decision. They don't feel comfortable making a decision without being told to do so.
Yeah, they're not disloyal. They're very loyal to the company. They're just not driving it. They are a passenger on that bus. And it will only go if there's a driver.
Absolutely.
So they're the passengers that wait for the instructions. Yeah. So it's about you now starting to think about where your team and where your people sit on this model, and that can help
Also
determine
as well, Michelle.
how fast your business can move.
Absolutely, but also, yeah,
as well as yourself. But most leaders are definitely not going to be the passengers.
I've met leaders who are presented as passenger slash driver. That you can be a blend of these ones as well, and that could also impact the team that they are meant to be leading,
Managing,
because they are maybe timid in making decisions.
Yeah.
They come across scared, and then you have a team who are probably leaders, but they're getting the instruction from a driver or passenger, and that can impact the whole team. So maybe look at this as well and see where you are positioned as yourself, because you might be operating as a passenger slash driver as well.
So let's look at the driver then. So level 2 is the driver, and the driver takes the wheel. They anticipate obstacles before they hit. They make proactive decisions. They own the journey and the outcome. And this is where performance starts to shift. So the driver is driving the passengers who are there, waiting for those instructions, waiting for advice, waiting to be told what to do. And then you've got the driver who takes the wheel, who starts to own that journey. And that's where you start to see a performance shift. So the level 3, Conroy,
so you have the level 3, which is the navigator, someone who doesn't just drive or own the lane. They start thinking outside the box. They start making decisions. They start to come to you and says, actually, what should I do? Rather than waiting for be told what to do, they're asking, what should I do? What do you think about this? They start bringing ideas to the table, which kind of transform the whole thinking of that whole team as well.
And level 4, the leader at every level, is what we call the leader at every level. This isn't about job titles. This is about mindset.
This is my mindset, Michelle.
It's a mindset. So leadership is about a mindset, actions, attitudes, behaviors. It's not a job title. People get confused with leadership being a job title. Well, if you're a managing director or if you're a team leader, that team leader, the title itself means you're the leader. Actually, leadership is about a mindset.
So basically, how you show up for work.
We're going to talk about that. Leadership is about your behavior. Leadership is about your attitudes. Leadership is about all of that. It's not the job title. Yeah. It's a mindset.
That's very key, Michelle. Hold that, because I think that's really good to talk about.
We'll come back to it. So leadership is a mindset, not a position. It's not a title. And instead of that's not my job, you become a leader at every level, whatever the level.
So I remember, and sorry to interrupt you, but this is really good, because I remember in the early days of our business, like you'd go and clean the kitchen. You'd go and sweep the bins or take.
Still do.
You still do, but what that showed me and other people in the business is that you are not scared to get your hands dirty. You don't just tell people you should do this. You actually lead by example and show them, actually, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. But also that falls into integrity as well, which is one of our core values, because integrity is doing what you say you're going to do. And what tends to happen in a lot of businesses is when people start showing a lack of integrity, they're not going with what they say they're going to do, it can impact the whole culture of that business as well.
Absolutely. And leaders at every level are willing to get stuck in, are willing to do everything. And if, instead of that's not my job mentality or mindset, if it's emptying the bins and that's not my job, that's the cleaner's job, that's not a leader at every level. That's not the leaders we're creating here. And that's a big problem in most businesses nowadays, because most people are quite quick to say, or too quick to say, that's not my job. I'm here to do this. And they're just in their own little world, but they don't see the bigger picture. The navigator and level 4, so level 3 and level 4, they see the bigger picture. Level 1s and 2s, they're just on their own journey.
And they do as they're told.
And they do as they're told, and they can start to, you know, drive that bus, but they're not really making that big impact.
They're limited. And when we recruit people, one of the biggest things that we don't really recruit on skills of such, we recruit a mindset. So we deliver a bit of a training around mindset, which is about helping people to have an open-minded approach. Because in that training within the interview process, you can straight away see somebody who has a fixed mindset or an open mindset.
Oops.
Because that would then tell you the kind of persons you're bringing into your business.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So just a live activity for you for the chat. And if people can, if there's chats coming through.
Chats and the things. Do you want to share some, guys?
So Kane, Siobhan, Naveen, we've got here in the room with us. What chats do we have?
Somebody else, which do you think you have more of in the team right now? Passengers, drivers, navigators, level.
For us as a business, level 4, leaders at every level. Okay, so we've got someone who thinks they're mostly A's. We've got some B's. Siobhan says D. So we've got the live activity. Think about someone on your team. Which level are they at right now? So I want you to think of someone in your team. Which level are they at right now? Let's close this chat. Amar is saying A and B. So you've got a mix of passengers and drivers. Perhaps you're lacking navigators and leaders at every level. And then after thinking about someone in your team, I now want you to think about yourself. Which level of thinking are you at? Which level are you? Are you the passenger? Are you the driver? Are you the navigator? Or are you the leader at every level? Which is all about mindset, being an unstoppable problem solver, and coaching your team to be level 4 thinkers too. Because if you have a team of just level 1s and the odd driver at level 2, the business is going to be bottlenecked.
And would you say, Michelle, in some cases, you do need some passengers and you need a blend, but it's about where do they fit? And this goes back to our program, our Leaders at Every Level program, where we're going to dive into this a little bit, where we can work on personality so you know who you have in the room. And sometimes it's just shifting 1 or 2 people in certain roles that would change the whole team. So it's looking at the whole holistic approach as well within the team, not just one.
We've got a question here about the 4 levels, and can I ask why level 1 is closer to the glory? On the road of map, I guess what you see in the imagery there, you're saying that level 1 should be here, and level, like the picture on the right hand side with the road.
I can help with the answer.
Okay.
Because when on our program we have a question that kind of asks us what animal best describe us, and this analogy here will help you. So I always use myself as like a wolf.
Describe,
yeah. So a wolf. If you look at how wolf they carry themselves, or they go around in a pack, they have the weakest person at the front, which is the one closest to the glory. Then they have the semi-strong people in the middle, maybe the moms, the dads. And at the back of the pack, they have the alpha male, who is the strongest one, because he's looking out for all the threats, all the danger, and making sure that no one falls behind. So this is kind of what this analogy would represent, because sometimes a leader, they're not glory hunters of such. Their job is to empower the people in front of them to become the best they can be.
Absolutely.
So that's why you're looking at the journey like that.
She's saying fabulous. That makes sense. So where are you in this? What type of level of thinker are you at? And what are you surrounded by predominantly at work? So what does the leader at level 4, the leader at every level, what does that look like in practice? So let's skip the slide. There's 4 key characteristics, and leaders at every level share these 4 characteristics. Their behaviors, they're not personality types. Anyone can develop these behavior characteristics. The first one is initiative. They act before being asked. They act before being asked.
Initiative.
They use initiative. Initiative is number one in this bit.
And that just solves so much problem, because something that could take 2 minutes sometimes takes 30 minutes or an hour, and probably even longer when somebody's don't use their initiative, they wait for that you can do it, or the green light, or the answers. So that makes a massive difference.
The second characteristic, responsibility, ownership. They own outcomes. They don't just own the task. They don't just say, oh, well, I did it and it's not my fault of the results.
They own the whole.
They own the whole thing. They own the outcome as well as, well, I did the task. I did what you asked me to do, but I'm not really interested in the outcome.
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in the results. They don't really affect me. I did what you asked me to do. That's your passenger.
So, and in terms of a problem solver, this person may make a mistake, or they might not even get the results, but they think of the solution of how to improve that as well. So they're not just coming to you and say, oh, I did exactly what you told me. Here's the result. I'm owning it. But they also come and say, actually, what do you think about this and this and this?
Yeah.
That's the kind of people that really scale your business and really transcend it from where it is, because they're thinking about how can they make it better, not just doing the job. Even though they might think of an idea and get it done and it's successful or not successful, they're thinking about how to evolve or to continue to become better. And they're bringing, and I remember this once, there was we have somebody who works in a huge corporate business, and she says to us, she said, Michelle Conroy, is your team, are they coming to you or are you going to them? And that question has always stuck with me, because that then tells me the kind of people we need to be surrounding ourselves with within certain areas of the business. We are going to need the people who just do as they're told,
Passengers.
but we also need those people that come to us and say, right, I thought of this idea. What do you think? I've made this happen. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that really transcend and scale a business.
And that's the third characteristic you just described, is the problem solvers. They bring answers. They don't just question. They don't just, they come, they think about, actually, you know, they don't just present a problem to team leaders or their managers. And so often too many people come to their manager and say, this is the problem.
And it stops there.
And it stops there. And that's the end of the conversation. Is actually, well, what have you done about it? What do you think needs to happen next? And so on and so forth. Yeah. So, and the fourth one, sorry.
Just before you go ahead, like it's quite similar. It's probably the same. I'm probably echoing what you said, Michelle. It's like if you get an email from somebody to say, oh, such and such is hasn't paid their bill or whatever, and there's nothing else. Like, the response I would have done is, such and such hasn't paid their bill, but I'm going to do X, X, and X. What do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
That is a completely different response, rather than just saying the problem and no actions of what to do.
So we've got some people in the chat saying, I want them to level up in the right way that makes the bus go faster. We all want the bus to go faster, but we also don't want it to come off course. I feel that people don't want to take responsibility. Yes, absolutely. Then you definitely need to get us into to do some workshop training with your teams. They know what to do, but not willing to go ahead. So that is a question all about.
There could be a couple of things that's wrong with that. There could be the fact that they're scared, they're fearful.
We're going to come on to that. We're going to come on to this in this presentation, because we touch upon that in this presentation. So, and the fourth characteristic, sorry, I keep flicking instead of closing the chat, is pride. They care about their work standard. They care about not just completing it, whether it's done. They actually take care and take pride
and own it.
So initiative, responsibility, ownership, problem solvers, and take pride.
And just to add to that, Michelle, what will happen as a result of utilizing these 4 pillars is your one-to-ones get shorter. You know, the people around you are coming and they're making decisions faster. Everything speeds up, which
that's how you make the bus faster.
Exactly. And you make more money because everyone now is working towards these 4 pillars.
Yeah. So decisions get faster, the bus moves quicker, and your energy as a leader goes from just firefighting to truly leading. And that's
thriving.
Yeah. Not surviving, but thriving.
Absolutely.
So that's the result of getting people, especially key people in your business, at level 4 thinking.
And just going back to what you said, Michelle, about at the start of this presentation, that the whole leadership at all level training and leaders is not just a task, it's not just a title, it's a mindset, it's the foundation that weaves everything together. If you have leaders in your business who don't have the mindset of a leader, in demonstrating these key characteristics, you're going to have a team that's definitely not going to be thriving.
It is. And, mindset is the foundation of everything that we're talking about today. So in terms of responsibility and ownership, that's a mindset problem. And to be honest with you, it's hard enough to shift your own mindset. You're probably thinking, well, it's hard enough just working on myself, let alone my own team or my business, or, shifting an entire team's mindset. That's a different challenge altogether.
It's like Les Brown said, it's a full-time job working on yourself.
It is, but that's where our Leaders at Every Level program comes in, and it's built to do, but more of that later. We'll share some exciting opportunities that you can have beyond this webinar today. So, we've established the mindset. Now let's talk about the practical tool, because mindset without method is just motivation. And we know that motivation fades.
Motivation fades.
Motivation fades, method sticks. So this is what we need to work on today. And we call this the solution first framework. It's a simple rule. Before you escalate a problem to a manager, you must first do 3 things. First, think of at least 2 potential solutions you've actually thought through. The second thing is the pros and cons of each idea that you've thought through. And third, you then recommend your pathway and move forward and state your reasons why. And
so what I love about this, as a manager, you're not just handing them the puzzle to solve, you're handing them the decision to validate. And that's what a true leader does. They're not just handing it over and says, oh, go solve this puzzle. You're handing them over the decision to make.
Yeah, and that's a completely different dynamic. Let me check if this is it. So before escalating, there we go. At least 2 potential solutions, the pros and cons, and your recommended path forward and why. And that moves that role from problem solver to decision validator.
Yeah.
And let me show you what this looks like in the real world.
So we've got a couple of scenarios
Go
here.
on then.
So I'll read the first one out to you. You're an account manager and a major client has rejected your proposal. You're not happy.
They're not happy.
Yeah, they're not happy. Your old approach, you message your manager, the client hated a drop, passed over a draft. What do you think? Full stop.
So the client hated the draft. What do I do? And that's the email to the manager. Okay.
Similar to what I said at
So
the
start. The new approach is the solution first framework. So these 3 things. So you message your manager and the client rejected the draft. So I've reviewed their feedback carefully. I've got 2 options. Option A restructures the timeline and keeps us on budget. Option B brings in extra creative resource, but adds 2 weeks to the timeline. I recommend option A because it protects the relationship and the deadline. What do you think? And that's it. You've now given the problem to your manager, but you've also given them 2 solutions, the pros and cons, and your recommended pathway forward.
Absolutely.
So instead of the manager now having to do the
thinking about it,
you're now given the power for your staff. You're empowering the staff to make that decision with the solution first framework. So decision made, manager validated, and the project gets on moving.
Absolutely.
So what just happened? Your manager spent 90 seconds instead of 20 minutes. And you just demonstrated level 4 thinking to everyone in your team. Does that make sense?
Why does people tend to not do that as a leader?
Because they will come on to the reasons why in this presentation, but fear comes up a lot. Fear of failure, fear of getting it wrong. But we'll talk about that. I want to keep on the solution first framework that actually we are now starting to empower our team to be a leader, a level 4 thinker. That's what we're coaching our team to be. So a real-time exercise, I want to ask the people in the audience to think of a problem that you've got on your plate right now, something you've been waiting to escalate, or perhaps you're waiting for someone else to do. Perhaps you can't make that decision. And I want you to now think about applying this 3-step solution first framework. Don't write it perfectly. Just write 2 options, your recommendation, and 1 sentence of reasoning of why you've chosen that recommended path. A quick couple of minutes just to write these down for you to think about, to reflect on. Think of a problem on your plate right now. That's something you cannot solve, or something you're waiting on for someone else to give you the go ahead or the green light or the idea.
Yeah.
I want you to come up with applying the solution first framework.
And while everyone's doing that, Michelle, I want to ask you a question, because what changed in terms of when we had 18 to 20 staff who are all,
Passengers.
passengers in a bus, what was the key thing that helped us recruit the right people?
We recognized we were the bottleneck. We recognized that everybody was asking, they needed us, and without us, it didn't happen. So we then had to look at our whole staffing structure, and I'll tell you why that happened and why we ended up with passengers mostly in our team at that time, is because our passion for people is high. Our passion is helping people be the best they can be. And that also includes our staff. So when staff come to an interview, potential recruits
Program.
and we work with them, and we always want to help them. So we say, hey, come under our wing and we can help you. That's why we ended up with the team of passengers at that time, because our passion was helping people. And we just opened the doors and said, hey, get on the bus. Just sit on the bus and come along and enjoy the ride. And we'll drive you along and we'll steer and we'll think about the bigger picture. And yes, typically we become a stepping stone for people because we help raise their aspirations. We help break down their barriers. We fix their issues and problems, and then they go off and live their life that they want to live. So
with our blessing.
That's why we had a load of passengers, but we took stock and thought it's not
still help
sustainable.
people. We can still help.
Our passion is still helping people. That's why we do what we do. Our passion is to help teams become great. Our passion is to help.
However, we have to help ourselves
First.
Yes.
And that meant letting the passengers off the bus in order for us to recruit different levels of thinkers from level 1s to level 4s. Like you said, we need a mix in our business. So that was why. And it's not that we don't care about our people now. It's just that we've got the right teams
in place to manage each person
that can run without us needing to be there.
Absolutely.
So we could comfortably go away on holiday and not have to worry about the business not running.
Yeah.
So the systems are set. This works. I promise you, everything we're giving you in this 60 minutes, we've got 25 minutes left. Have we got anyone who shared anything? If not, we'll move on. So we have a question. What's the question? Oops. Could you get the questions up? Let me get the chat. So HR have reviewed salary. Is this the question? Yeah. HR have reviewed salary benchmarking for 3 important roles, and they are 10 to 15k lower than market expectations. Delivery output of the team will now be 2/3 slower than originally stated. So either delivery outputs need to change and be reduced to more realistic output, or increase salary to achieve the business requirements or what is required for delivery. My question, Amar, back to that is, if it was back up to market value of 10 to 15k, why would that change the delivery outputs? Because there's no extra time, the job role's the same. So why would just a monetary incentive suddenly deliver outputs? I don't understand why delivery output would now be 2/3 slower just because the monetary value has gone down. Because nothing else has changed. Unless it's motivation, unless it's resentment, unless
staff is going to leave, unless you're going to have staff leaving the business.
So the quality of candidates for those roles will be lower because the monetary expectation is now reduced. So but that doesn't mean, so yeah, you're attracting that caliber related to the pay. However, it's the delivery outputs need to match the salary. But there's only a certain amount of time in a day, isn't there? Your delivery outputs, whether it's a 10k salary less or more, the delivery outputs should be what the company needs.
And that goes back to as well within the business and the systems in place.
It does, but if this company is realizing that actually someone more junior can do that delivery output, it should not affect the delivery outputs. It shouldn't be 2/3 slower. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, yeah.
With the right training. Does that answer that question? So, so the old approach is what I just shared, and the result is the manager saves time. So let's move on to the elephant in the room, as you keep talking about why does this happen?
I know, and I touched upon this at the start, and it's fear.
Overcoming fear. Even with the best framework, fear holds teams back.
And it's simple to understand, but difficult to overcome.
Yeah, we can give your team the best framework in the world. We can come and deliver staff training, and they still won't use it, not fully, not consistently, until we address this one thing, and that is fear. Simple to understand, but very difficult to overcome, like you said.
Absolutely.
So people ask because they're afraid to be wrong.
And it's an invisible force as well. Most teams back, and until you name it and address it, it will always show up every single time.
It will. And people don't take ownership because they're afraid of looking stupid. They're afraid of getting it wrong. They're fearful of making mistakes. They're afraid of being judged.
Yeah.
Of what other people are going to think of me. Afraid of being blamed when it goes wrong. And that is the invisible force that's holding teams back. So until you address it, no framework in the world will unlock the full potential of your team. So that's what we're going to do today.
How would you overcome that within a team of people who are just so fearful of all those things?
It's about training them. It's an inner confidence. It's a self-esteem and self-worth piece of work that needs doing to those people to enable them to feel empowered, to make decisions. Our business, we talk about failing forward. It's okay to fail. Whereas in most businesses, people
it's just results based.
It's results based, and if people fail, they're
kicked out, sanctioned.
Yeah.
Whereas we
there's consequences, there's punishments, there's whatever. But our business, and this is the business model we'd want to teach and equip your teams with, is how to deal with fear. Because I wrote a book on it about breaking through your comfort zone, because
we'll give you the link in the chat as well.
Being comfortable means you're stagnating, you're not progressing. You cannot progress when you are comfortable.
So are you saying that for a company or a team to really grow, they have to go through a phase of uncomfortable growth?
People have to go through getting used to being uncomfortable, they have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And fear, we frame it as this: false evidence appearing real. You may have heard that before. I also frame it as this: people either address fear as fear everything and run, or face everything and rise. And it's about facing your fears head on. Whatever it is you're scared of, it may be presenting to your team, it may be doing a presentation to the board,
or even addressing real issues within the business,
which may be gossip or whatever it is that may be that damages teams. So this is how we frame it. It's about false evidence appearing real, and most of what we're afraid of actually never happens. It's in our head. And the stuff that does is rarely as catastrophic as we imagine, because we make it more uglier, more distorted, the more we think about it, overthinking, and so on. So as a leader, your first job is to define what's called the safe zone. Not every decision your team makes is going to kill the company. It's going to put them in debt or write them off, or in fact, most things are reversible. So a bad email can be followed up. It can be redacted. A missed process can be corrected. A client concern can be addressed. Very few decisions are truly irreversible. But when your team doesn't know that, they treat every decision like it's life or death. So I'm too scared to make it. It's not my decision. I can't make that decision because in case it goes wrong.
I get that.
So they hold back. So the first stage is leaders must define the safe zone. And then...
And here's something we want to say all the time. Most leaders within a business, the success of that team is dictated by how that leader shows up. If that leader shows up angry, they don't respond very nicely to failure or mistakes or the blame game, that's the exact same response the team is going to develop, and that's the culture they're going to create.
That's so important you say that, because the energy you said about how the leader shows up, how that team leader shows up, how the boss shows up, the energy they bring is key. Because if you want a high performance culture, you have to model the energy you want to see.
And what does that look like? So what does a high performer looks like on a day-to-day basis?
As a leader, are you coming in complaining? Are you moaning about your teammates? Are you
Monday morning
moaning about Monday morning? Are you the first one to leave the door at 5 o'clock? What energy are you bringing as a leader and modeling to the team, if you are a team leader, and modeling to your team?
Absolutely.
And we call this calculated bravery, is when the cost of being wrong is low and the benefit of moving fast is high. So you made a decision, it may have been the wrong decision, it may have had a little cost to it, but actually we've moved forward.
And failures on the feedback. It's the only way you know you're succeeding. If you're not failing in your business and you're not making mistakes, you're not progressing. You have to fail to progress. That's the only way you learn about what you're doing.
Failure is only feedback.
It's
Failure is
only
only
feedback.
data. And most growth comes from acting before confidence arrives. And confidence, that comes from doing, not waiting. People only become confident when they do it and they go, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought, because their fear in their head that they conjure up in their head, this job is too hard, or that bid writing is too hard, or I'm going to put it off and put it off. And it becomes the, when you put things off?
Procrastination.
Yes, thank you.
But also you have the other on the flip side where you have people that will do something, they'll get it wrong, and they don't ever do it again. So you have that. And on our leadership at all levels program, we can work with those kind of people as well, because you do have those people that they fail at something the first time and they don't want to try it again because they didn't like that uncomfortable feeling. But we helped you to understand that those feelings are normal. It's feedback. It's how you get better and progress in your career.
Let's have a look at the chat. We've got a chat question here. So was D, they had few leaders prior to myself, and it takes time to get trust. Which is the biggest barrier to ownership in your team right now? The team just isn't motivated. So an unmotivated team, a disengaged team, as we said at the very start, disengagement comes because the systems are not in place. People don't feel empowered. They feel there's a bottleneck. They feel that decisions take too long.
How that leader shows up in the workplace.
Makes people unmotivated, because if they have to wait 2-3 weeks to get a decision, I would not be motivated to go into work if I know that I'm still waiting and I'm still waiting. So then you have an unmotivated workforce.
And that's what people get when people start with Reactivate. It is a culture shock. And we have a couple of new members in the room here who says that, because when they're working, a big corporate organization, the length of time it takes to make decisions and get things done, it dampens everything. And when you come here, you can get things done in a heartbeat. That helps so much, that you're not keeping people in the same position for long periods of time.
And we've got a mix of people who say that fear of getting it wrong is the biggest barrier. In fact, we've got a mix of answers, all four, A, B, C, and D. So fear of getting it wrong, no clear boundaries on decision making, leaders not modeling the right behavior, and the team just isn't motivated. So Kelly's got a mix of B and C, with no clear boundaries and leaders not modeling the right behavior. Well, how on earth do you think you can change a culture of a team if the leader is not modeling the energy?
Absolutely.
The leadership at every level 4 thinking,
And what I would say is, like, for us as a business, what helps us is when we recruit people and we go through the training and the staff training, and we talk a lot about the culture, we talk a lot about energy and how people show up. One of the biggest things for me is the pleasing personality. I talk about that, like that's the high respect, and the pleasing personality are the high ones on my list of things. And if you are displaying those two traits, everything else can fall into line, because you're creating a happy environment. People are coming into work wanting to be there.
We
just got someone turn their mic on. And that changes everything. If you're coming into work with a happy vibe and a happy energy about you, you're gonna help the team, boost them, because you're gonna challenge it, you're going to help them, you're going to ask questions, you're going to just help people to become a better version of yourself.
And the last one, high agency leadership. Leadership isn't about being in charge. Like I said, it's not a title, it's not a job title, it's a mindset. It's about choosing to make a difference every day in the way you show up, in the way you behave, in the way your attitudes are.
And when that becomes the culture of your business, it changes the whole game.
It does.
It changes everything.
And the high agency leadership is the belief, the deep, non-negotiable belief that you can affect the outcome regardless of circumstances. Not that you can control everything, because you can't.
No,
you can't control if the printer breaks down. You can't control if you don't.
If it's really hot.
If it's so hot and you have no fans or aircon. But you have control over how you choose to respond to everything.
Yes.
And you decide whether something's 100%. A problem or not.
This is not us getting to our mindset stuff that we teach and what we live by. is that we teach people that no matter what life throws at you, your greatest freedom is your ability to choose how you respond.
Absolutely.
That's your power. And whatever shows up into your life currently, that's because of how you're thinking. Because you can have two people in the same room, one experience this, both of you experience the same exact situation, but one respond positively and see the blessing and take action. The other one complains about it and moans
For the next
and
week.
moans and moans, and nothing is changing.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you choose to see and respond to things.
So remember this, you matter, your role matters, your energy matters. Leadership isn't a position someone hands you. It's a choice you make every single day, regardless of your job title, regardless of the size of your team, and regardless of how long you've even been there. And when that becomes the culture of your business, when everyone in your team shows up every day making that choice at level 4 thinking, everything changes. So I'm just conscious of time. We've got just under 15 minutes left. So before we open up for questions, I want to leave you with something you can actually do on a Monday morning. So a Monday morning challenge, there's no prep required. It's called Intent to Act. I want you to find one bottleneck in your workflow, in your team, in your day-to-day work. One thing you've been waiting on someone else to fix. One problem that keeps getting escalated to you that actually you think is unnecessary and you think people below in your team should be doing. I want you to apply the solution first framework and then send, instead of asking a question, we send an intent to act message that I intend to do X by Tuesday unless you have a better suggestion. So that's the message that then goes to the person higher up that you're waiting on that bottleneck that is stopping you from waiting on that green light, waiting on that yes, waiting on that decision, or waiting on that email. Identify one problem, apply the solution first, and then do your intent to act message. So
Can you say that again, Michelle? Because I like that.
Yeah, so you identify one problem and then apply that solution first framework, those 3 things.
Yeah.
So come up with the 2 solutions, say which one is the best one, and then state one how you want to move forward.
You've got the problem and you also have the solution.
Yes.
The same message.
And then you then send an intent to act. So, dear Conroy, I intend to do this by next week. I intend to send off the press release by next week, unless you're not happy with my draft. Please. So you're saying what you're intending to do, and what will generally happen is you'll help speed up the bus because the manager now knows this is what you intend to do
by that day.
Yes. So if I wasn't happy with it, I'd say, hey, hold fire. But at least there's a response.
So you're commanding a response. You're
Yes.
commanding a response. You're not just throwing it out there and hoping it sticks.
Yes. And then what happens is this builds trust through consistent, responsible action as well.
Yeah. Like
that single message builds more than trust than a week of status updates, because trust isn't given, it's earned through consistent, responsible action. So drop in the chat right now, what's the one bottleneck you're going to tackle? What is the one bottleneck you want to tackle next week with your team, with your business? And let's see what problems people have got. I know some already are saying an unmotivated workforce. But what is the one thing that is stopping you from moving forward? That's what I want to know, because it stops. That means your workflow stops. You cannot move on unless you get the go ahead. So what action, excuse me, what problem is there? What bottleneck is there that stops you from progressing forward? We can always
come back to that. We give people some time to kind of drop down their answers here. And I want to just say something that might sting a little bit. The biggest cost in a business is not the tax, it's not the, at the end of the year, you got your VAT, and it isn't the rent. The biggest cost in your business is a disengaged team. And in the medium-sized business, you don't have the luxury of carrying that. Every single person is critical to help the machine move forward.
So we've got less than 10 minutes left. So the true cost of disengagement, like we said, a disengaged team, the biggest cost in your business isn't taxes or rent.
Absolutely.
It's the disengaged team. And when culture shifts from inspired to tired, from tired to inspired, no, if it shifts from inspired to tired, the performance stalls, errors increase, and good people leave. You've got to have a culture of tired to inspired, from surviving to thriving. So yeah, when culture shifts, in the positive way, you keep your good people. So the true cost of disengagement is good people go at the end of the day. So we've got in the chat. Let's have a look in the chat facility. Okay, there we go. Not enough staff due to leave and sickness. And when you have to work 3 people jobs, you get burnt out. Okay, so the demands of having to do too many people's job roles because of staff sickness and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you need to do is look at the management of why are people sick
and why people leave.
Why are people leaving? And first look at that system, that issue. Is it a culture problem? Are people not feeling valued? Are people going to a higher paid job? Are people, what is the reason?
But also there's one thing I learned recently, because within one of our businesses, our housing business, we recently learned that within the lifespan of a person within that industry, it's a 2-year window, because it's just what the nature of the beast is. And you also got to look at the nature of the people that are coming for those jobs and doing the work. And we're big on passion as well. I know we haven't spoke about it in terms of our core values of our business. Passion is number one. Are the people who are coming into these roles, are they passionate about the job they're coming for?
Or is it just a job?
Another paycheck?
Yeah.
So it's looking at and
you have to look at
sure
the whole thing.
It's the whole thing.
The whole picture. It's the whole culture, the whole ethos. And you only get burnout when you're doing something that no longer serves you, or you're just completely overwhelmed, overstressed, and you just feel you cannot cope. And that's because the system's not in place, because you're just trying to do
2 or 3 people's job.
Yeah. I remember when I worked in a school, when I left, I think they replaced me with 9 people.
It was 12 people.
12 people
12 people
that ended up doing the job role that I was doing.
But how did you not get burnt out?
I didn't get burnt out because it was my passion. I was doing something that I loved, and I was very time efficient, but I was there. I didn't have a work-life balance.
Well, you have great systems, Michelle. That's one of the things and I had this conversation earlier with a member of staff, and she's struggling doing 2 things. And I was like, how do you think we feel? We have 7, 8 businesses, but it's about systems.
Teaching people the
systems and understanding that everything that you're doing in your life should be filling you up, not taken away from you.
Yeah. So what we've shown you today, the mindset levels, the solution first framework, the permission to fail, this is the beginning of turning that around. And if you want lasting transformation, there's more. Because if you've stayed with us the whole way, we want to give you something that goes far beyond what we've covered in this session. And this is an exclusive offer available to only people in this room. We're not advertising this elsewhere, and it's only for today. And here's what you get. You get 2 full staff training workshops delivered by us, taking your team through everything we've talked about today and much, much more, because it's bespoke and tailored to meet the problems your business is facing. We're offering a 1-month free trial for all employees for our I Am Great platform, which has a plethora of resources on our 4 key pillars: mindset, money, network, and health. And then you also get the full leadership at all levels training package for managers. And it's about...
So is that two training, 1 for the staff, for the whole team, and 1 for managers, plus the I Am Great access?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, all of that. And we're giving it today for anyone who makes contact with us today as a result of today's webinar, for anyone attending this webinar, at a discounted price of just under £2,500, which I think is a bargain, but it will transform your business. If that £2,500 can then turn your team into a much more productive team.
That's about 1 person's salary, really, isn't it? 1 month's salary, 1 person.
With the on costs and everything else. Yeah. And for the cost of 1 person's salary with their on costs and NI and PAYE and everything else you pay for, it's a bargain, because it's valued at $7,997. And for anyone who attended this webinar today, we're making it available for a one-time investment, and see it as an investment, because if you can invest $2,497 into your business, and then you're saving $2,497 on, staff absenteeism that is no longer, you don't have to put cover in place. You're not having to pay for people who are sick. That's a big saving in itself. So The I'm Great program is for every single one of your employees, no matter how many there are, they all get access for a 1 month free trial. And that is a world-class personal development program at your fingertips and in your pockets.
But just think of the thousands and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, it will save you and your business.
So if you want to do that, the link to book a consultation call, because it may just be a call that you want with us, is in the chat. We've put that in the chat. So anyone who wants to book a discovery call, consultation call, to even have a conversation about this package, what it would look like for you, what it would look like for your business.
And also it could just mean that you just want a one-to-one session, a one-to-one coach with myself, Michelle, or the team. We can also do those. We're very flexible, open-minded. So whatever it is that your need is, we can support.
Yeah, and it's there's no pressure. There's no sales team people going, hey, what can we sell you? It's just a call. It's just a discovery call. So if you do want that, then I suggest you click that link and get yourself booked in and have that 30-minute consultation call with us to see how we can help maximize your teams. So we're opening up the floor to questions and answers for you to, if you want coaching, if you want one-to-one coaching, if you want to let us help you level up, then put it in the chat. Say that you actually want us to make contact with you, register your interest, and now we leave the floor for the last 5 minutes of the presentation for your final thoughts, questions and answers, how informative you found it, has it helped you? We'd love to answer any questions that you have.
A big thank you as well for taking the time in your busy days to come online and showing up. And this is one of the key things we spoke about at the start, is about how are you showing up as a leader? Every single one of you showed up today, shows and demonstrate what the type of leader you are and what type of leader you want to become. And that's fantastic to know and see. So well done to you for showing up today.
Genuinely, thank you for showing up. And today's presentation is just a little bit of it's like the tip of the iceberg, the real work, the deep transformation. That's what we do with the teams that we get to partner with. And we'd love for your team to be the next team that we get to partner with and help elevate, transform, motivate your workforce, help you put systems in place that make teams more effective, make teams more productive, and effectively increase your turnover and profits.
Absolutely. Is there any questions in the chat before we conclude today's session?
Any questions? I don't think there's any questions, but generally, thank you so much for your time. We hope that you've enjoyed these 60 minutes. We hope you've given a flavor of some of the things, but mindset is key. And yes, we do work with NHS staff. In fact, we've delivered previously to a regional NHS drug and alcohol service where the teams were merged from 2 areas and had to come together as one team. And that was through the can we say the East London Foundation Trust? Yeah, the ELFT. So we have worked with NHS staff. We work with all businesses, all sectors, and we can help transform teams. So Nat is saying thanks. It's been an invaluable session. Thank you for your interactions, and hope this has been very helpful. So feel free to book that discovery call. There are no obligations. It is just a call. There's no sales pitch. You get what you get. You see what you see. And we are just passionate about helping people level up and live their best lives. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. And
look forward to the next one.
Enjoy the lovely weather here in the UK. And we wish you all the best and hope to help you and your team.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.